All right, so today's deep dive is honestly a bit of a doozy. Somebody sent this in, and wow, I had no idea this was even a thing. We're talking AI,
Mm-hmm.
but not, the AI everyone's talking about, like self-driving cars or,
Right.
those robot things. It's AI being used to create Nudify websites.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you heard that right.
Yeah.
Nudify websites. So,
And it's extra ironic because the article you sent, it's
yeah,
from Nudify Info, which
right.
is a blog about deep fake tech. Talk about it.
Seriously, talk about bearing the lead right there in the name.
Yeah.
So this article digs into how these sites are using AI to basically create fake nude images.
Yeah.
And we're not talking like some, artistic harmless.
Right.
It's specifically targeting women and girls,
Yeah.
creating these images without consent.
Mm-hmm.
It's like deep fake tech being weaponized, essentially.
And on a massive scale. And what's scary is it's not like some little corner of the internet.
Right.
The article says that even big companies like Google, Apple, Discord,
No way.
yeah, they were all kind of roped into helping these sites.
What? Seriously, how does that even happen? How do you get Google involved in this?
So you know how we see those sign-in with Google buttons everywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it turns out those single sign-on systems are kind of the problem here
Okay.
because they made the website seem more trustworthy and legit.
Oh, so you're more likely to trust a site if you can just log in with your Google account.
Exactly. It's like a digital stamp of approval from a company you already trust.
Right.
So instead of going through a whole registration process, you just click that Google button
Easy.
or the Apple button and boom, you're in. You start buying credits,
Wow.
generating images, and it's all under this this umbrella of a platform that you already trust.
Right.
It's almost like if you use Apple Pay at a store instead of cash. You're just kind of like, oh, this is a legit transaction. But in
Yeah.
this case, the store is selling something totally unethical.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's like we just hand over our info without a second thought.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really unsettling about all of this. Like, we've become so accustomed to convenience that
Yeah.
we don't stop to think about the potential downsides.
Right.
But with something like this, it's not just like, oh, might get some spam emails. We're talking about real harm.
Right.
Like, imagine being a young woman and you're applying for jobs, and these fake explicit pictures are attached to your name online.
Oh, God.
It could ruin your career,
Totally.
your relationships, your entire life, really.
It's like a digital scarlet letter or something
Yeah, exactly.
that follows them forever.
Yeah.
And, the article even mentioned teenagers
Oh, yeah.
using this tech to bully their classmates,
I know.
which, I mean, teenagers, come on. Like, that's just messed up.
It really is. And it makes you wonder, if teenagers are already figuring this out,
Right.
what could someone with truly bad intentions do?
Oh, totally. This
Eh.
could be used for, like, revenge porn, blackmail,
Exactly.
all sorts of awful things.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is making me so mad. Like, these tech companies, they have entire teams dedicated to security and ethics and all that.
Yeah, you would think they would have thought of this.
Duh. Right. How did they not see this coming?
I think it's a couple of things. Honestly, these AI models are evolving so quickly
That's true.
that even the experts are having trouble keeping up.
Okay.
But I also think there's an element of these companies being so focused on growth
Right.
and, innovation
Mm-hmm.
that ethical considerations kind of get pushed to the side.
Yeah, move fast and break things.
Right. Exactly.
But at least they did something about it once it came out right.
Yeah, I mean, the article said Discord and Apple, they started shutting down accounts.
Go.
Google promised to address it.
Okay.
But the thing is, they only did all of that after Wired contacted them.
Really?
Yeah.
So they weren't doing anything proactively.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It was reactive, not proactive.
Wow.
Which, unfortunately, is kind of a pattern we see in the tech world, right?
Right.
By the time they address one issue, another one pops up.
God. It's like a game of whack-a-mole
Exactly.
with harmful technology.
Yeah, and the article was very clear about this not just being a few isolated websites either.
Right.
They said it's like a whole network.
Yeah, they were saying like a network of sites all sharing resources and stuff.
Yeah, operating like a well-oiled machine.
And they even mentioned that lawsuit in San Francisco,
Oh, wow.
where one of these networks had something like 200 million visits
200 million.
in just 6 months.
That's more people than live in most countries.
I know, it's crazy.
That's insane. And it just shows how profitable this kind of exploitation is.
Right.
And that's part of what makes it so hard to combat, because it's not just like one person operating in their basement. You're
Right.
talking about sophisticated networks
Right.
operating across borders. It's really hard for law enforcement to keep up.
So we're talking about this massive global network, right? Exploiting technology that most people don't even understand. And they're hiding behind these everyday things like those sign in with Google buttons. It feels like an impossible problem to even get a handle on. So like, where do we even go from here? How do we even start to fight back against something like this?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's definitely not an easy fight. But I think it starts with changing how we think about it. Like, we can't just keep reacting to every crazy story that pops up. We
Right.
need to get ahead of this. We need to, like, anticipate the harm before it happens.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Think of it like this. Crashing your car is obviously terrible, right? But we don't wait for accidents to happen before we make seatbelts or come up with traffic laws.
Right.
We need that same kind of forward thinking when it comes to technology, too.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how do we build those seatbelts and traffic laws for something as complicated as AI?
Well, it's going to take a lot of different approaches, but honestly, I think one of the biggest things is we need more transparency from these big tech companies.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take journalists digging around to pressure them into doing the right thing.
Right.
They need to be the ones looking for these vulnerabilities and fixing them before they become a problem.
So it sounds like you're saying this isn't just on the tech companies though, right? We as users have to be smarter too.
Absolutely. We can't just bury our heads in the sand. We have to be more informed about the technology we use.
Right.
Be wary of anything that seems too good to be true.
Like those free cruises you always see ads for.
Exactly. And for goodness sake, read the terms and conditions before you click agree to anything.
Ugh, I know.
Oh,
Nobody does that.
I know. I know. But we're so quick to just hand over our data and trust these companies to protect it. But we can't afford to be passive anymore.
So knowledge is power, I guess. The more we understand how this stuff works, the better we can protect ourselves.
100%. And
Yeah.
honestly, don't underestimate the power of just talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Share this with your friends, your family, your coworkers. The more we talk about these issues, the harder it becomes for them to stay hidden.
That's a good point. Well, this deep dive has been um, eye-opening to say the least. I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you to the listener who sent this in. It's a good reminder that technology can be amazing, but it can also be really dangerous. And as we keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible, we have to make sure we're not losing sight of what's right and wrong.
Well said.
So, to our listeners, stay informed, stay vigilant, and keep asking those tough questions. Until next time, keep exploring. And thanks for taking this deep dive with us.